Good morning and welcome to XSell Live. I'm your host, Korah Hart, coming to you from the sunny Phoenix, Arizona today. Drop in the comments where you are joining us from, or if you have any questions, and we'll try to get those answered. Today, I have special guest Denny Reichard. The moment you meet Denny, you're going to find that he's genuine, professional, and extremely knowledgeable about real estate. Denny and his wife, Trish, have been a team in the real estate industry for over 30 years. Denny started as a custom home builder, building homes from affordable single family to multi-million dollar custom homes. Denny and Trish are multi-million dollar producers and team leaders in the Phoenix Valley. Welcome, Denny.
Thank you, Korah. Thank you for having me on today. I really appreciate it, and look forward to being able to answer your questions and talk about new construction.
Well, that is super exciting. So, talking about new construction, why don't you tell us about the different types of new construction home builders?
Well, depending where you're at, across the country, we're in Phoenix. So we have what they call more tract home builders, they're national builders, and what they do is, they'll have several models that you can choose from, and that's pretty much it. You don't get to customize them as much as what you would call a custom home builder. Now we do have a few of those, but the majority homes that are sold in our market are more of the tract home national type builders.
Okay. So, well, like when you're looking at these new homes and you're going to see the different types of tract homes, what's the most important thing you need to know when you have a client that wants one of these homes?
When you're working with a client that's looking at new construction, most of the builders, even when I was building, originally I was building in Illinois. So even when I was building in Illinois, I required the real estate agent to make that introduction. So that's the same thing that we have here. I'm sure it's going to be that way no matter what state you're in, but you need to make that introduction. That's the way you're going to be paid commission. So you need to educate your buyers that you need to be with them on that very first visit. So you can register them. And I actually pulled up a form that I just registered just a couple weeks ago with one of our clients. So it's a form that you actually fill out with the builder that'll have the client's name, it has your name on it, and then it also states how much they're going to pay you in commission. So that is very, very important to know.
So now that commission, is that going to come from your client or is that going to come from the new home builder?
That is actually going to be from the new home builder. So here's the thing to also educate your clients on. So that the buyers think that if they go to the builder, that builder will reduce the price because they don't have a real estate agent. That is not true. The majority of the builders, they're just going to pocket it. So it's not going to cost you, the buyer, make sure you tell your buyers this, anything, because the builder is paying the commission. They're paying for you to bring in them a buyer that would be interested in purchasing one of their homes.
Okay. So what are good questions to ask the builder's sales agent when you're there?
Well, the one thing is, when you go there to meet with that sales associate, get to know them. That's one of the first things that I really recommend that you need to do. Build that relationship with them, with several of the builders. But the questions that you want to ask is about the HOAs. What does that community offer? What are the amenities? How much are the HOAs per month? Do they offer a rec center? Do they have a community pool? Things like that. That'll be also the thing that you're going to ask them about your commission. What are they paying in commission? Now, a lot of you over the last 2 years, I don't know if all of you are new in real estate. Some of you may not be, but over the last 2 years, we actually had some builders that were stopped paying commissions, or they reduced it, even down as far as 1%. So it's important to don't do this in front of your buyers and ask. Get in there, meet those sales agents in there, the sales associates, and ask them how much they're paying in commission. And let's see, I had a couple other questions to ask.
Right. So when you're getting started, you're going to want to go see the new construction homes, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Get in there and walk through the models. Understand what they're offering. What are in their packages. Okay. The other thing to understand is is there a waiting list? Because some of the builders a year ago, we were having lotteries because there were so many buyers and not enough homes being built. So ask them, how many homes are they releasing per month on average? So a lot of the builders release 5 to 8 homes a month. And then is there a registration list? And how big is that list? So if I bring in a buyer, where would they be on that list? Now they may say, oh gosh, we have 25 or 30 people on that list. That's okay. Because these people may have been on the list for several months. Maybe they've already bought a house. Maybe because interest rates have gone up or house prices have gone up, now they're not ready to buy. Maybe they can't buy. So it doesn't really matter how many people are on the list at the time when you're talking with the sales associate, but it's just good to know the process.
Okay, that sounds great. So that's kind of the process that they're going to go through, is go get to know all of these different sales agents that are with the builders, and then they're going to ask all of the questions about the community and the HOA and the percentages for their commission. So they know that before they take their client. So when the agent takes their client, what is that process going to look like for them?
So the thing that you're going to do is when you first meet with the sales associate, you're going to register your client. So you'll have them fill out whatever the builder's registration form is, view the models. Now, what I do, I normally will take my clients through the model to see if they're even interested. And then if they are interested, then we fill out the registration form. If there's any interest at all. If they go through the models, say, nope, I don't like these homes, then I don't waste the time or the associate's time. But if there is any interest at all, I have them fill out that registration form so we know that they're registered. And then what I do personally, if my clients are going back because they want a second view, I go with them. Customer service is everything. So you want your clients to know that you're there, you have their back. They know that you're going to be getting paid a commission. So you're showing your worth to them, and they know that you have their back.
Okay, that sounds great, because it is really important to have your clients back. So when they're doing the contracts, because as an agent, I'm not going to be doing that contract. That's with the builder. How do you assist them with that process?
So the contract is a builder's contract. There are a few documents that you will need to have signed depending on your state. In our state of Arizona, we would still need an agency, a wire fraud, and associated business or affiliated business. But the builder's contract is going to be several pages. That they're not going to change. They're not going to let you use your local contract. You're going to have to use the builder's contract. What I recommend is getting a copy of it. Have a copy of it sent to you and the buyer prior to signing, so you can read through it instead of sitting there and trying to understand each phase or each part of the contract as you're just sitting down with the buyers and the builders to sign it.
Okay. So, is there anything that you really look for in that contract that you should maybe be warning your buyers about?
Not really. Unfortunately, with the builders, they're not going to change their contract. You just want to look through. They'll have the specs. You want to be able to explain certain things to your client. So if they have the specs that the builders including certain hardware or certain plumbing fixtures such as faucets or door handles or cabinet knobs or pools, if those things are included in there, you want to make sure that you're showing the buyer. Here's a perfect example. We closed a house a week ago. 2 weeks ago, we did the orientation walkthrough, and they were missing a backsplash. The contract clearly stated the backsplash was going to be on the back wall in the kitchen, and it wasn't there. The person for the builder that was out there goes, "Oh no, I checked, and there's not one included." And I said, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is." So when I got back to the office, I checked the contract. Yes, it was in there. Made the phone call, and they did have the backsplash installed prior to closing.
Okay.
So those are the things that you want to go through in the contract. It'll also state in there, the amount of earnest money that they're putting down. There's just the different, like here we have to have a public report. So in the contract, there's a public report receipt that the buyers received a public report. Every state's going to be a little bit different. It'll break down for the builder. Maybe like if there are selections, here's the difference. So in the last couple of years, builders are just building specs, not all of them, where you have no selection. So as a spec, they've picked the flooring, they picked the cabinets, the paint colors, the countertops. You don't get to select anything. There are a few builders that have picked a majority of things, but you can still pick flooring and upgrade it. You can pick cabinets. So those are the things to look at in the contract. Are there any selections? Is your buyer going to go into the selection center to make these selections or not? You want everything up front. You don't want anything in a gray area, because once that contract signed, you can't change it.
Okay. So when you're looking at doing the upgrades, and I'm just going to dig a little bit deeper here. When you're looking at doing these upgrades, what can the difference in price cost your clients? Because I know you go in the spec home, you see these great houses, and you're like, oh my gosh, I want everything that this one has.
Right.
What is the difference from the base price typically to if you were to do those upgrades? I know it varies all the time. But
the thing to remember is when you walk into those, exactly what you said. You walk into the model, you're like, oh my God, this is great. I want this house. Well, they put the top of everything in there because they're dangling the carrot. They're trying to set the hook and pull you in. Whatever the base price is, let's say, for example, the base price is $450,000. Normally, what I see is anywhere from 12 to 15% is what you're going to add to the price when you have selections. When the builder is doing all the selections, they're usually about the same, but that is the sell price. There's not going to be any changes, after that. I take that. Some of the builders, they don't include landscaping in their backyard. So if you're going to add landscape, there are still some changes in ads that you can add to it.
That was
normally everything on the inside is included.
So with the landscaping, because that was definitely my next question was, is that something that you can have included into your purchase price so that you can have your landscaping done too? But that's obviously an upgrade.
Yes, majority of the builders are allowing that. What they are not allowing are pools anymore. So the reason why we're not allowing pools is that the lender requires the pool to be installed before they close the loan because it's included in the loan. And the pool people are, they're 8 to 12 months behind just because of the demand. So they weren't able to meet these deadlines. So then they wouldn't close the loan. So the builder just stopped allowing pools. Most of them. I don't know any builders that are allowing them right now.
So can you have the lines ran for those prior? Like if you need a gas line to go for a heater, like a hot tub or whatever, can you do that ahead of time?
If the builder allows it, yeah. I'm going to use, there's a builder that we just closed a house on. It was a Meritage builder, and you couldn't make any changes. You couldn't add gas lines because they already pulled the permits and there were no changes allowed at that point. There are other builders like Fulton Homes. We were able to go in, you were able to add a gas line like for a grill to the outside. Gas is actually pretty easy to run for a pool because you're going to come off the gas meter. There's a line off the gas meter where you could run it. So it's really not that difficult. It's more if you have to run gas lines through the walls of the house. Anything outside, like for a pool, that's easy. But inside, run a gas line.
So the electric and the gas isn't really a big deal if you're doing that.
Right.
Okay. I think it's important to be able to educate your clients on that. So those are important questions. So can you tell me what the closing and walkthrough process would be like on a new build?
Yeah. So right now, they call it an orientation walkthrough. So usually a week or two prior to closing, they'll schedule a time for you to walk through with the builder. We also call that the blue tape walkthrough. So what happens is the builder representative, project manager, will meet with you and your client, and they're actually going to show them how everything works around the house. You start on the exterior, they're going to show them, electrical panel, the gas meter, if you have a irrigation system, where that panel is, how it works, and you walk the exterior of the house, see if there's anything that needs to be addressed. There could be a cracked window, or there's paint on the window, or you have stucco that, or things like that may have some cracking or something that just needs to be addressed. They mark it, and they're going to have that repaired prior to closing. And then you go inside the house, they do the same thing. They show how everything works. They'll show where the air filters are. They'll show that in the kitchen, the appliances that are included. They'll show the garbage disposal, your GFCIs, all that kind of stuff. And then you also are doing the blue tape walkthrough there, and you may be marking, things, nail pops on the walls, or maybe a paint run on a door or something like that you're marking for them to address and repair prior to closing. Normally, again, that happens about a week to 2 weeks prior to closing.
Okay, that way they have time to address everything that might be an issue. Is there any really important things that you need to check when you're doing your walkthrough, like something that most people wouldn't think of looking at?
Well, I mean, if you're walking through, you're looking to see if is there cracks in the tile flooring. Well, if there's a crack in the tile flooring, then something's moving, especially with it being a brand new construction. You're just kind of looking at things. Normally, that's not going to happen, especially with the way they build the houses today with post-tension slabs. That's why they're building them in Arizona. They may not be building them in other states like that, but normally we're not seeing anything major. I would recommend having a home inspection. Here's why. We've heard of stories they forget to put the insulation in the attic. I'm not crawling up in the attic, and I don't recommend any realtor to do that. I mean, you're taking a liability where you could hurt yourself, or if you go up there and damage something, it's going to be on you. Now, the builders will require the home inspectors to have a liability insurance and an insurance coverage. You'll need to find out from that builder what that amount is, make sure your home inspector is covered for that amount. But I do recommend it. Most of the time, they're not going to find much, but you never know.
That's true. You never do know. I mean, I had a friend build a brand new house, and their bathtub drain pipe was not lined up properly, and they didn't figure it out for 6 months, and then they had to rip out their whole bathroom. So one of those things where if you have an inspection, it would save you that headache.
Right. Of course, you have human error, you have product failure. Those are things that most people can't see. Even with my building background, I can normally see a lot, but I'm not doing an inspection. I can't take that liability. But if I see something that throws up a red flag, and then we're going to get the right people there to look at it. But I highly recommend having an inspector there to walk the property and check everything to make sure it's working correctly.
Okay. And so then when you're doing these and you're closing and everything is going great because, they built this beautiful home and it's just amazing, nothing needed to be fixed, do you still offer your client a home warranty?
Well, the builder has a home warranty. So you need to understand the home warranty. That goes back to what we talked about earlier. When you meet with the builders, find out, what kind of home warranty, what are the warranties? And usually they're what they call a 1, 2, and a 10. So a 1 year is basically a bumper to bumper, like on your car. Bumper to bumper includes everything. You'll put a list together of things that need to be taken care of. It could be nail pops, could be some cracking. Things have settled and moved a little bit. They'll come in and take care of it. The second year is normally electrical and plumbing. So if there's electrical plumbing issues, they'll take care of them. And of course, you have all the manufacturer warranties. And so make sure that those warranty cards, you send those in. That's one thing that I'd say most clients don't do. I highly recommend it. Here's why. On an air conditioning unit, you normally get, I believe it's a 2-year warranty. If you fill out that warranty card, normally it jumps up to 5-year warranty. That's huge.
Okay. That is huge.
So I highly.
So you're going to save a lot of money by not needing an additional home warranty as well. Right.
Something else I want to mention that I forgot to earlier. When you're meeting with the sales associate, ask them about incentives, because the incentives right now, currently, new construction, we're starting to see some inventory in new construction. So the builders want to get these homes sold. I am actually seeing incentive prices going up. So to get the incentive, the buyer must use the builder's lender. So as long as your buyer is okay with that, I highly recommend they get those numbers from the builder's lender, go talk to your lender, compare the two, and see what's going to work best. But if they're offering you 6, 8,000, 10,000 in incentive by using their lender, I highly recommend looking into that, because that could pay all of your closing costs. The lender's closing costs, which is huge. So I definitely would say, make sure when you're talking with your clients or talking with the builders, find out what they're offering so you can pass that on to your clients.
Wow, that is some great information and a lot of information. I really appreciate your expertise in this, and I hope that helps everybody out there. If you're going to go talk to these new builds, make sure that you ask the questions, get lists, or just find out all of the information so you're prepared when you do take your client. I think that's just great information. So thank you for joining me today, Denny. And if you don't have anything else, we're going to go ahead and sign off for the day. But if anybody has questions at a later time, go ahead and post them, and we'll make sure we get in there and answer.
Well, thank you. I really enjoyed it. And I have a passion for real estate and new construction. So
you can kind of tell. You get excited.
I love what I do.
Well, you have a great weekend, and thanks for joining us.
You as well. Thanks, Korah.